Hello and welcome to the second Metagame Monday. Today's focus will be on the standard Lapras team. You probably heard of, played against on Pokemon Showdown. So I think, as a possible co-creator of this team, I think I should probably explain what and why and did that everything happen. So basically, a bit of a history before we start this explanation. Basically, how did Lapras come to be? Well, basically, at 2 AM on one night, I was thinking about just some kind of team about Lapras. I liked the idea of having Lapras that outspeeds Dragapult with the Tailwind boost and one-shots it with the G-Max Resonance, so I just dropped some members in. And in Series 4, it worked out really well. I got to like 1900s on Showdown, and I thought it was a really good success. Now, my friend Oliver came around and asked for the team, and I just gave it to him, thanks to him being my good friend. Now, I go on to watch the Players Cup Invitational, and for some reason, Alex is using my team with G-Max Lapras. Oliver has been a good friend with Alex apparently as well, so he just kind of gave him tips on the team. I don't want to just say that Oliver gave him the team straight up because my replays are widely available, but he certainly, and he said he helped him a lot with the team. Not only Oliver helped Alex the team, but he also helped popularize it by the fact that about 12k people watched the Players Cup Invitational stream, and Alex dominated with the team and got to the finals, so basically he played in as many games as it's possible. And so the team gained a lot of traction. I was trying to experiment with it in Series 5, wanted to play something similar I'm showing here on the Players Cup qualifier as well. This is pretty much very close to the final version I was wanting to use. That's not grammatically correct. I wanted to use, but yeah, this is pretty close to it. I didn't use it in the final. I used Sun because of how overpowered it is. And Lapras having some matchup disadvantages. I am going to go over the matchup section of the team. So let's get into explaining the team and why is what. So basically, before you just ask why do we have Blizzard here, Blizzard is absolutely necessary in getting the one-shot on Dragapult. 140 base power attack from Blizzard versus 120 base power attack is a major difference. Blizzard with Life Orb boost and G-Max Resonance gets 140 base power and it KOs Dragapult on the spot. Minimum roll is 100% and 0.6 or something like that. So it's absolutely necessary to get Blizzard. Protect is also very useful. I used to test with Freeze Dry instead of Protect, so if you want to change this move, feel free. But Protect is overall pretty useful, and I mean, Freeze Dry is also useful in late games against a lot of Pokemon, but when I used Protect, it was pretty fine. Shell Armor instead of the Water Absorb, because we want to be immunized to the crits Doggies can create. Also, we are immunized to possible crits Urshifu can do against us, which is pretty useful. Being immunized to crits. Also, Hacks doesn't get you through G-Max Resonance, so another point for Lapras. Now, you could run Spread like this to outspeed the Dragapult, but look at how much bulk does it improve. Nothing. The difference between like 10 extra HP and being to at least speed up with every single Lapras in the game is huge, and you definitely want to do that. And also, never ever run Timid Nature. You're not gonna get the knockout on Cinderace or the Dragapult, guaranteed, with the Blizzard and the Hydro Pump respectively in their G-Max forms. You need to run Midas to get these knockouts. It's absolutely essential. So you need to run this nature on Lapras, making you having to speed up with every single other Lapras. Now, Rillaboom. Now, Rillaboom on my team used to be Assault Vested, but a lot of people on ladder, especially high ladder, use Choice Band variant of Rillaboom, since it gives them somewhat an edge in the mirror matchup, as Woodhammer normally actually, but not that much bulk on Lapras. It's guaranteed to kill with Woodhammer. But the Choice Band on Rillaboom is also extremely useful and extremely powerful, so since you're using such a hyper-offensive team, having Assault Vest might not be the best of choice. It worked for me, but Choice Band, when I tried it, like, as the other players use it on high ladder, was extremely, like, powerful, and it just helped me a lot to ladder. Also, this is a wrong spread. You want to use this. 113 speed. Please let me do that, Team Leader. Thank you. So we outspeed every single Lapras this way. 113 speed is overall a very good number. You're just gonna outspeed every single Lapras, and if you're going to lead into mirrors with Talonflame, this is just useful. You're gonna outspeed them much with the Lapras, guaranteed. Now let's get into Urshifu. This Urshifu is extremely simple. It's the standard Urshifu set, but we're running a consistent team, so you should not expect anything out of too ordinary. Close combat, Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is amazing priority for late game cleanups against something like Dragapult or against Trick Room teams where or faster opponents like Incineroar. It's just useful. Use Sucker Punch. Don't use Poison Jab or Iron Head. It's just so much useful. And the jolly nature just to outspeed as many things as possible. You can outspeed stuff like Indeedee, speed tie with like Mimikyu, but that isn't too popular nowadays, but you get the point. Just add speed and speed up with as many Urshifus as possible. Now for Talonflame. Talonflame should always run Brave Bird for a lot of power. Also, this is the wrong item. Again, sorry about that. It should be Sharp Beak. Now, Dual Wing Bait. Because a lot of Whimsicots nowadays are running 4 HP and 252 special attack, so they have extra powered Mini Blasts. Dual Wing Beat with Sharp Beak boost KOs Whimsicott on the spot. As long as it hits, it doesn't get minimum roll twice in a row. Literally minimum roll. So you have 255 out of 256 chance to one-shot Whimsicott with Dual Wing Bait. So yeah, that's pretty good roll, I think, and it always one-shots Brave Bird for the extra power, and then the support move. It can be anything as long as it is a support move. You can have Letter Blitz here. Actually, just breaking whatever I said. You can have Taunt here. You can have Will-O-Wisp here. You can do pretty much anything. Will-O-Wisp is extra nice because it deals with Tyranitar somewhat nicely in the lead slot. And Tyranitar can be extreme pain in the butt to deal with for the Lapras plus Talonflame lead. So I highly recommend running Will-O-Wisp. And Tailwind is just the wall point of Talonflame, setting up the Tailwind, so we outspeed everything with Lapras. Now, the last 2 slots, if you should never change these 4 slots. You can change the items. I don't know, get a Salt Vest here, get a Salt Vest here. But these change a moveset here. But these 4 slots should never change on this team. They should never change. Maybe there can be Whimsicott as well, because they do very similar job. But you should never change the idea of this slot, like Tailwind. Do not Denoivern. You need to priority Tailwind to outspeed Dragapult and stuff like that. There is no Tailwinder in the game that outspeeds Dragapult. So yeah, you absolutely need priority Tailwind here. The last 2 slots on the team, though, are extremely discussable. You can discuss about it at all times. Because of that, I'm going to be first talking about these, and then I'm going to talk about possible substitutes to these 2 slots. Now, I chose Indeedee as this slot, because this team can have quite a big trouble against Redirection Trick Room. And Indeedee with Psychic Seed is pretty good at repelling these things away. Trick Room, Imprison, and Protect. You imprison, Trick Room, and Protect. That's the job. And it also matches up really well against these Sun modes. Like I've shown Venusaur Buster Call last week, and Expanding Force is just extremely good in cleaning up that. I actually recommended that as a counteraction as well. G-Max Fine Lash no longer KOs you if you get a Psychic Seed boost, so you do not fear about that. Without that, I think there was a chance to knock you out, but now it does not. So Expanding Force deals with that super well. You have to watch out for Togekiss Bulldoze plus Max Airstream Tonemon if they lead to Duscos plus Togekiss. But that isn't too worrisome if you lead like Lapras and go for Expanding Force Tonemon, and if they don't crit, they don't kill you, so that's pretty good. And the last slot is Dracovish. Amazing Pokemon, it just does so much damage. It threatens Incineroar, which could be very troublesome for this team. If you match their Tailwinds against Incineroar, you outspeed and kill it with Vicious Run turn 1. If they Sucker Punch, they're just wasting turns, and you can just KO it with Dual Wing Beats next turn, because the priority is faster than opponents. It's just so useful. It deals with Incineroar so well, to the point I think it's worth the slot. But if you're not onto that, also Psychic Fangs is very good in conjunction with Indeedee. You can also run Adamant. I used to run Jolly. I complained about the lack of power sometimes, but I also really like the idea of outspeeding Talonflame turn 1 or not turn 1. After the decay wings are broken, Talonflame can outspeed you and break you for a lot of damage. If you're Jolly, you're gonna outspeed it and then Rock Slide or Vicious Frenzy for the one shot. So I think that's pretty useful, but you can run Adamant as well. That's just why I'm using Jolly. And this is the second part of the team. I mean, second, like, things I can recommend you to run instead of these last two slots. As I've said before, this defensive Rillaboom spread takes max flying from life for Dragapult, so I think it's pretty good in the bulk department. And it outspeeds Lapras as well, turn 1, and can one-shot it with Wood Hammer. So this is probably the most optimal Rillaboom set you can run. The Incineroar plus Conqueror was a combo I used in Series 4 and it was really good. So if you want to go for some old school combo this team used to have, I would recommend these two guys. They can catch opponent off guard, but you would probably need some trickery mode as well into it. It runs very differently, but they are an option to run. They worked before, so they should work again. Cinderace is different sweepers, so basically this team can also run Cinderace or Dragapult as a backup sweeper. If Lapras doesn't work out for some reason, these two Pokemon are good on their own so well that they can be just injected on the team and they are going to work pretty well. But they're not going to deal with Trick Room, so you probably have to run the Indeedee as well. But they work still on the team pretty well. You got Tailwind, so they work naturally. And the last two slots are very popular among this team. I don't know what these spreads do. This one is pretty bad actually. Sorry about that again. But this team, I don't know why, likes to run these two Pokemon as the last two slots. They offer a different mode. They can annoy a lot of teams, the Trickery mode. But myself, I don't think it's worth a slot. Also, Marowak likes to run Rock Head. You would probably still not go for Electric move next to Marowak nowadays. But Rock Head plus Flare Blitz plus Portgeist is just such a powerful combination. You got such a powerful moves that opponent is gonna fall for them very fast. Also, why is Marowak Rock Head? Basically, you can use Lapras in Trickery mode as well. And if Marowak would have to use as Flare Blitz to do with like Venusaur, it would lose a lot of his health. Now with Rock Head, you can Dynamax Lapras and still retain immense physical and kind of a special bulk as well on the Marowak. So I would highly recommend that. And with Porygon 2, yeah, it's your standard Porygon 2. Try attack for coverage. Like, you could run Thunderbolt, but it does not hit Celesteal on this metagame. And Try attack hits everything neutrally, so I think it's nice. And nice being made Dragapult, so that's really the only worry you have. Now that I explained the team, we're gonna go into Google Slides presentation. Well, let's get into that then. So, why do I have this here? Oh, just downloaded random GIFs for my, so I can put them in the streaming templates. Just don't worry about that. So standard 2020 Lapras detailed matchup guide by David Kudash. As always, Pocket Pass, I should probably provide you with the substitutes to this, but I'll link them in the YouTube video as well, so you do not have to worry about this. Now, P2 balance. Basically, the team is mega screwed. The Porygon 2 Lapras Incineroar Rillaboom mode is mega screwed against Lapras. Both Incineroar and Rillaboom get one-shotted by Life Orb stab attacks. You could Parting Shot away at Primarina and weaken it to the point it's not threatening. You got Rillaboom as well in the back to completely decimate Primarina. If you got Choice Band, you do 90% to it in Dynamax form. And P2 is just gonna watch everything die around it. But if they got Cinderace Bisharp, you probably will have to be a bit smarter about that. So basically, you take out a Bisharp, turn 1 G-Max Resonant, Cinderace for big damage, and then you just max guard and let Incineroar faint, and then switch to Rillaboom to possibly finish off Cinderace from its wrong typing. And KO the Bisharp with Max Gazer. And you should be able to clean up from that moment, because the Grassy Glide does not do too much. I mean, the Arden Hat, Flum plus 1, Bisharp should not do as much damage to your Rillaboom because of the G-Max Resonance, so you should be pretty fine to clean up that team afterwards. Now, I'm not sure what kind of variant I'm talking about here. I'm talking about some Incineroar variant. I'm gonna look into that in a bit. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm actually talking about variant with Incineroar as a Trick Room counter as well. I think I suggested that in a guide as well. So I'm talking about an Incineroar variant here, where you have Incineroar as a possible bulky backup against the Trick Room team. So just bulk them out instead of just eliminating the Trick Room. You're gonna go let it slide and just bulk them out, because Lapras with G-Max Resonance plus Rillaboom and Urshifu with Focus Sash, and you got a bunch of bulky Pokemon as well, so you're gonna be able to bulk it out. Yeah, so I think that's not a bad team either. It functions very similarly to Indeedee, because Incineroar is there literally for denial of the Trick Room and annoying it. Preset good stuffs. You need to KO Clefairy as soon as possible. This is a pretty bad matchup. You take Helping and Max Strike. You need to KO Clefairy turn 1. If I wanted to recommend something else than this guide says, I would probably go for Max Guard turn 1 with Lapras and go for Tailwind, because they most likely either go for Helping Hand, Max Strike into Lapras, or Protect with Clefairy. If you can lure out the Protect and you KO Clefairy, you're golden. Urshifu in the back completely destroys the heck out of the Porygon Z, so you should be fine after Clefairy dies. You should be able to easily clean up. Rillaboom also just deals with the backup pretty well. And Talonflame Porygon Z, go opponent's Talonflame immediately and match Tailwinds. In case of you trading Talonflame, switch to Urshifu and KO the Porygon Z. Urshifu struggles to KO your Lapras. Yeah, but it clears combat. Opponent, yeah. So basically, I think the game plan is as following. I'm gonna make it a little bit more simple. KO their Talonflame, match your Tailwinds. After you're going to get your Urshifu in, get your Urshifu in, and KO the Porygon Z as soon as possible. Rillaboom with G-Max Resonance is going to win the bears against the opponent. Especially since if you get the knockout on Talonflame and your Talonflame isn't knocking out, you're going to be able to go for dual wing beat and do massive damage to Urshifu or Brave Bud. You know, it's a good matchup. As long as you got a G-Max Resonance up and Aurora Veil up, your Rillaboom should have an edge in this matchup in late game. Slow Psy Spam. Venusaur Tolko. Go for Venusaur for guaranteed KO and G-Max Resonance as well. Opponent has like such a weird synergy in the back. You see like Indeedee, Hatterene. These things do not go along well, because just they need to lead and set up Trick Room. If they got Urshifu, they have a somewhat a bit of a weird team as well, and Rillaboom plus your Urshifu is gonna exploit that in the back. Flare Blitzing with G-Max with Aurora Veil up should not be a problem either, as the Urshifu like has to choose a target. It's just kind of a messy for them. And against training Indeedee, I did not bold that, but yeah, parting shot the Indeedee and switch to Rillaboom and G-Max Resonance. Now they are screwed. Like, the funny part is, your Rillaboom outspeeds Lapras by 1 point, which underspeeds it now, so go for Max Gazer into the Indeedee to block possible Turtle Switch, finish it off, and Wood Hammer slam the Hatterene for 1 shot, and try to get through confusion. Turtle plus something in the back just can't win now. Incineroar plus Urshifu is way too good. So it's kind of funny how you can use this speed to outspeed another speed as well. It's very creative using that here. Fast Psy Spam fighting. Go for Max Gazer Interaction and match the Tailwinds. They cannot one-shot you back, and you go to Rillaboom in the back to clean things up. If they go Alakazam and Indeedee, go for G-Max Resonance, Tailwind. They cannot just bulk through you, and then you switch to Rillaboom or Urshifu, and you just kind of are immune to the hit, and you're completely screwed. This team has such a disadvantage against you, it's ridiculous. And Standard Sand. Now this is the matchup I'm kind of fearing when I was preparing for Players Cup. Also, you can't see this too well, so I'm gonna try to move. Try to move away so you can actually see the whole game plan. Okay, that works out. Nice. Against Dragapult, you kind of win with Lapras. You even KO their Amoonguss next to it with 1 shot, and they just light incorrectly. Dragapult, I mean, with the backup you have, it's just pretty easy. And you want your Dragapult as well after Amoonguss feints. Against Tyranitar Amoonguss? Oh, actually, I'll recommend Incineroar. Okay, it doesn't matter though. If you would like to lead Talonflame, you can try to go for Will-O-Wisp turn 1, because Protect on Amogus turn 1 is just extremely obvious. They like to go for that so they can 2-hit KO you with max Rockfall while only trading Amogus for it. But because you can burn them turn 1 with Talonflame, for example, you can just Will-O-Wisp them and they're screwed. They get like 3-hit KO now, and that's not good enough. That's not good enough, and they're gonna lose because Lapras gets way too far into their team. If you go for the Incineroar, it's the same story. You intimidate them, which is now a 3-hit KO. You Parting Shot, which is even more of a 3-hit KO. You switch your Rillaboom, and now you ignore the Amogus as well, and they're screwed. If they lead with Togekiss, they are screwed as well. It's just a one-shot as well, unless they Dynamax, which means they're not Dynamax in Tyranitar, which is good. Against Tyranitar Togekiss, it's the same thing. If they lead Excadrill, just switch out Incineroar as soon as possible so you save the Intimidate for later, so opponent cannot go for the Sport Sense very well. I mean, you one-shot the Togekiss anyways, with Max Resonance, Parting Shot, neutralize the Sport Sense, and here we go, Incineroar is coming back, and he just one-shot it back, and just lower the attack so much, and he one-shot it back with Max Geyser as well. It's pretty simple, it's just kind of disadvantages for them. But the worst matchup out of them all for this team is Standard Sun. Oh la la. I could talk about Dusclops plus Venusaur lead for hours. Basically, they got 4 options for you, and you have to guess it correctly. But I'm not talking about it here. Basically, they lead Dusclops Venusaur, you kinda lost. You have to guess it correctly. If you see Dusclops Venusaur lead, I would go for Taunt into the Venusaur and G-Max Resonance into Dusclops. It's a bold read, but it predicts a Light Switch, which is most unpredictable play, which makes it the most viable option for smart opponents. So if you're on a high ladder, go for this play and it should work out for you. You also taunt Sleep Powder, which is very unpredictable way as well. Unpredictable play as well. So I would recommend going for that. Against Venusaur Charizard, try to KO Venusaur as soon as possible. That's the motto. Just knock it out as soon as possible, and then you should be able to clean up the team with Dracovish. Plus possible Max Geyser. Just get it off Max Geyser, and Dracovish just like goes and just kills everything. Against Tyranitar Togekiss, do the Parting Shot strategy. Oh, wait a minute. I am talking about Dusclops plus Togekiss here. I'm sorry about that. So ignore the Tyranitar here. It's Dusclops Togekiss. I'm gonna actually fix that after that. So basically, the strategy is actually extremely funny. I'm sorry for not actually saying it correctly. So basically, you got Iron Head on Dracovish. You should. I'm gonna post the Poké Pass. Updated everything. You should have Iron Head on Dracovish. You switch out turn 1 into Dracovish and go for Blizzard. Next turn, you go for Max Steel Spike, which makes you incredibly bulky against the Tyranitar, and you KO Togekiss and go for another Blizzard. If Torkoal comes in, you neutralize it with Max Geyser and you're quad resistant to fire, so you don't care. If they switch to a Tyranitar, you get it into Grassy Glide range, and they're screwed again, because Max Geyser is a move, you know? They're completely screwed about that. So I might just probably will edit the Iron Head in there after I'm gonna do the presentation review. I mean the basically in the part where I explained the team, I actually had like Rock Slide instead of Iron Head. Iron Head is extremely useful in this matchup, so I'm gonna edit it in. You're gonna see it. It's pretty obvious. If you're wondering now, this is why. Against other hyper offense Lapras, you need to lead with Rillaboom. You're gonna, if it's Rillaboom mirror, go for U-turn and try to add speed and do massive damage to them, and just match the Tailwind, switch to Urshifu, and Urshifu will be able to do massive damage to Lapras if they U-turn as well. So that is the game plan. Go for Break Bit Close Combat. That should do enough damage to actually knock it out. I'm not sure now, but it should be a lot of damage. So yeah, you can Dynamax Urshifu as well, because you do not bring Lapras to this matchup. Yeah. The Urshifu's Max Darkness can pick it off if you do 20% Talonflame. Dracovish cleans up nicely if there's no Lapras anymore. Cinderace, Hyper Fence Cinderace. Late Dracovish Talonflame. Go for Fishes and turn 1 into Cinderace. If they want to go for Tailwind with Whimsicott, you KO the Whimsicott. If they want to match Tailwind with Talonflame, you match the Tailwind down speed him anyways. If they do not go with Tailwind, you KO the Cinderace anyways. It's ridiculously funny matchup. It's very favorable in your way. And Standard Rain. Prioritize KO on Togekiss first, and then start focusing Kingdra. Also, when I'm reading this, I think I have a stroke when I was writing this, but that's fine. Focus is worth as well, David, of the past. After single G-Max Resonance band, Grassy Glide should be able to KO Kingdra. I know that since I might 252 HP Kingdra with 116 defense took 50% from Grassy Glide unchoice banded. So I think it would do like 80% normally and more than 20% with the choice band and a better attack because my opponents were Rillaboom when I faced him in game at one of my streams was not max attack as well. It's ridiculous what Grassy Glide can do with choice band. Get G-Max Resonance on the Kingdra after you knock out Togekiss and then you should be good to go. And look at that base power calculation after Rain. And Strong Jaw and Stab against Ferrothorn. That's like if it was a 130 super effective attack instead of like not very effective attack. It does a lot of damage. Ferrothorn faints pretty easily. But it should be able just save Urshifu just in case. For the backup. And now for the last part of the video. The counters. Tornado plus Redirection plus Intimidate. As you have seen, Lapras tends to not do well against Tornado plus Redirection that protects turn 1 since Lapras finds the 2 max rock falls. Now, if you got Intimidate in the back, Urshifu will not be able to pick you off, or Dracovish, you're gonna get your weakness positive procced and you will KO the Urshifu back, or Rillaboom back, or Dracovish back in one hit. And then the opponent's way to behind and the Lapras team won't be able to keep up. So basically, get Intimidate, get Redirection, go for Protect with it turn 1, try to 2-hit KO Lapras, and then switch it to Intimidate. Block the possibility of opponent KOing the turn next turn, and you should be good to go. Percussion plus Clefairy is pretty awful matchup for them. As I've said before, you need to predict the turn 1 somewhat correctly, and even then you have somewhat a disadvantage. Some Laprases died turn 1 to G-Max Strike. It's a roll. But if you run Midas, it's almost guaranteed to one-shot. So if you're into running Modest Pergon set for not winning the mirrors, Help Again plus Max Strike straight up one-shots Lapras turn 1. And if you get -1 speed onto it, you outspeed next turn anyways. So it's kind of brutal. What we are talking about is Timid. I mean, actually, yeah, go for Timid. Actually, go for Timid because you actually guaranteed outspeed the next turn. And opponent is screwed because 2 Helping and Max Strike scale Lapras. They did nothing to you because G-Max Resonance doesn't do anything to Clefairy unless it's paired up with Brave Bird, and then it's just too annoying. Porygon just kind of wins off for that. If opponent does not see this from the start, like 113 speed Rillaboom plus Tailwind plus Intimidate as a possibility to deal with the backup, if you just can lead with Rillaboom plus Tailwind unnoticed, and opponent leads with Lapras plus Talonflame, they're lost. They lost. They are way too behind now. And if you can go for G-Max drum beating turn 1, you will be able to one-shot the Lapras turn 1 guaranteed, and are very bulky. Yeah. And if you get Intimidate off, you cannot win. Because the backup is mostly physical, and they're way too easily overwhelmed now. So that's what I would recommend against this. If you got Assault Vest as well, you're ridiculously bulky against the Lapras. You won't even get one-shotted, but you one-shot back anyways, so it doesn't matter. More counters. Late game Togekiss. Late game Togekiss, yeah, as I've said before, if you pair it up with Rillaboom or something that can annoy the Lapras at the start, if you can just somewhat create a team where you do not need the Dynamax, but you trade 2 Pokemon for Lapras, for the knockout Lapras, and you have Togekiss in the back as the last Pokemon that can Dynamax, the team is screwed again. So they got most of the time the team has Dracovish to counteract Togekiss, which just gets one-shotted back. So and Dracovish does over 50%, but the backup's just so atrocious that opponent won't be able to deal with it. Togekiss has just such a good matchup against the backup, so if you can trade 2 Pokemon for Lapras and have Togekiss in the back, I can probably tell you you're gonna win. If you are into old strategies, I've not seen the Colossal way too long ago, but if you can outspeed and KO, you can KO Lapras because the Lapras is 4 HP and needs to be running the spread. So if you can outspeed Lapras turn 1 with Colossal, and you're gonna be able to one-shot it, and you're gonna be able to win from the turn 1. So if you got Colossal plus one-shot strategy, you should be good to go and just destroy that. And if you have Trick Room mode, secondary Trick Room mode, semi-Trick Room team, that doesn't fear Lapras, plus defensive Incineroar plus Rillaboom switches, you're probably good to go. Torrent plus Intimidate support, if you can get self-proc weakness policy, yeah, this mode does not do too well. If you got Intimidate to self-proc as well, it's just amazing. Dracovish is very high special bulk, and if Lapras procs its weakness policy with G-Max Resonance, the team is even more screwed. Mermac a little bit max Quake raises the special offense too much, so Lapras doesn't deal with it that well, and you're doing a lot of damage. G-Max Ghost also lowers the defense, so Lapras is even more defenseless. Specs Torkoals makes a lot of mess. Anything fighting type like Conkeldurr, this team has not been prepared too well for, so if you can just Dynamax Flame or Conkeldurr in the Trick Room, they are screwed. They do not do well against it. Weakness policy bulky Lapras. Lapras needs to go for like Max Lightning to do damage to it, and if you proc the weakness policy, again you have the advantage against Incineroar plus Rillaboom, so you're gonna be able to deal with it. AVS Cavalier plus 20 to 30% Incineroar is also very kind of niche pick, but it can do pretty well against it, since Lapras can't do much damage to it, Rillaboom can't do much damage to it, Urshifu can, but not much. It gets still KO'd very easily back because his Cavalier is high attack. But the only problem is the Incineroar you need to do 20 to 30% to, so Max Quake from Drill Run can pick it off. Now that I have gone over the counters, I thank you a lot for watching, and tune in for next Metagame Monday. I actually do some other content as well on this YouTube channel, so feel free to look into it. I kind of spent some time doing that. So anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for immense support of the last video. I really appreciate it. Like 60 subscribers in one day for a YouTuber like me or Twitch streamer, that's so much, and I'm really thankful for that. So thank you for that, and I'll see ya and catch you next Metagame Monday if you're just watching that content. So bye bye and thank you.